Pickens. Everybody hit it.
I don't know. The franchise tag has an automatic time frame on it, and all of us will, and it's my plan and our thought that we'll all be working within the time frame of the conditions of the franchise tag. So it should play itself out, is the best way for me to say it. Make no mistake about it, we have long-term plans in mind for Pickens.
Okay.
TJ,
Yeah.
I'll give you the floor. You just heard. I mean, you want George there for a long time, obviously.
I do. I'm going back and forth because you know me, man. I'm not someone who will sit here and claim that I know everything, right? I listen to different sides and I'll change my opinion. First, I was like, yeah, let's sign him. And then I've had other people kind of go, this money could be better used filling other gaps on this team. And now I'm kind of like, do you really need to pay another receiver that much money when you've got a lot of holes on the other side?
Now, let me just say this. The, I guess, template or avatar in the NFL of paying top dollar to two wide receivers. There's two teams that do it.
Yeah.
Cincinnati and Detroit. By the way, Jamison Williams is up there, okay, in terms of making money. But T. Higgins and Jamar Chase are the leaders of it. And Burrow is being paid as well. So you got Dak, and you're going to have CeeDee Lamb, and you're going to have Pickens. And I'm saying this with no sense of irony, I swear.
I can kind of.
Who would you take as a better defense right now, Dallas or Cincinnati?
I can kind of also put the Eagles in there because A.J. Brown is 32 and Devontae Smith is 25. But go on.
Because you're like, oh, they're paying those guys, and they don't have enough to figure out how to pay the defensive side. Oh, I don't think there's any question you take Dallas's. Any question.
Now that Trey Hendrickson is gone, yeah.
Well, it's not. Even I'll give you Trey Hendrickson on Cincinnati. Quinnen Williams is no joke.
Yeah, now, they made some moves.
Kenny Clark, Quinnen Williams, and Rashawn Gary is ferocious with Overshown behind them.
You're right.
Okay, boy, that would have been big if they had gotten the Kobe Dean, with all due respect. But
yeah, but that's
now they're going to draft two kids to put on the back end of the defense. Draft a couple more, make another smart signing here and there. Yeah. Laugh all you want, everybody, but the Cowboys are putting it together. That's a fact.
I still have to see it. Like,
I know you got to see it.
I'll sit here and wave the flag and say we're going, but like
this
I need to
defense
see this.
On paper, way better than what it looked like at this point last year.
Yeah, and it's going to be
even with Micah there. I swear to you.
And then 4 weeks is going to be better than it is today.
Well,
but
if they got to hit it in the draft.
I like that
because if that back end can't cover, that front end better really get home as fast as they hope they can. But yeah, man, tight end, two receivers, the running back that they signed, the offensive line, the quarterback, the defensive line. You're getting there. So Pickens paying him long term. You want to figure all that out and keep Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark and Rashawn Gary and the other kids that you're going to draft who are eventually going to have to get paid at some point. Figure that out. People like making fun of Jerry and the Cowboys and the Joneses, but this thing is coming together. It looks it.
Where do you put them in the NFC? Top 3, top 4? They have the 7th best
I mean, the top 3 in the NFC might just be in the same division.
Odds-wise, yes.
But I don't know. I'm not prepared to go there just yet.
It's a little early there.
Let's see what that looks. Let's
a little bit early there,
like
Rich.
after the draft.
Yeah,
how does that
sound?
Let's look at it after the draft. Well, hello,
quack, feed them,
ladies and gentlemen. We have a new Jerry drop.
Yes,
Shucky ducky,
so
quack,
many animals.
Quack. Squirrels,
ducks, doctors.
My God.
I don't know why it's not stopping.
Powerhouse.
It's a gift that just keeps on giving.
It's the best.
But yeah, I don't know because look, if someone else matches Pickens, then we get 2 firsts. That's kind of
they're not gonna. Always.
Jeez, I couldn't get it to stop. Boy. Well, hello, good people. Mark Holmes here. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Let me say shout out to Holly Pierce, who just got herself a brand new phone. She did a video call to me. I didn't answer because I actually went out to eat dinner. So I was like, I'll call her back. There's Roland Review. What's up, Roland? There's Overkill. What's up? Willie Vesser in the house. Jeff Lee. My name is Jeff. Lady Libra in the house. What's up, Lady Libra? Broken Halo. Momo and his late April Fool's joke. Yeah, a day too late. What was his? He tried to do an April Fool's joke the day. You can't do that. You can't do that. What? I got to hear what that is. The Cowboys had better be better this year. Ash Lorraine, what's up? Joey Barker in the house. And Dirty Sanchez, what's up? Dirty, who you going to be fighting with tonight? Okay, Thomas Garrett. What's up, Thomas? How are you doing? And welcome, everybody. Hope everybody's having a great evening. You know, it's funny because I feel like the Dallas Cowboys, or at least the media with the Dallas Cowboys, are like kids in a candy store. You know, you can't, well, at least we used to go to the candy store, and they actually had real candy. And it didn't cost $3 for a damn Kit Kat. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm old enough to remember when we had penny candy, and you could get 2 pieces of candy for a penny. Yes, I'm that old. And here's word out that Hershey's has been hearing us about doing fake chocolate and says, we're going to go back to using real chocolate in our candy, but it's going to take us a year before we get there. Oh, shit. They've been feeding us shit, people, kind of like the media when it comes to the Cowboys. All right, so I've been working on this house, trying to get this thing done so I can go and enjoy myself at the draft and things. And lo and behold, my shit starts blowing up about the Dallas Cowboys. People are now getting on the bandwagon that the Cowboys have moved on from Max Crosby. Okay, it wasn't that long ago that we were in the mix for trading for Max Crosby with first-round picks and stuff. Now, we looking at trading up. I'm just kind of like, this shit is getting to be whack right here because my head is literally going all over the place. Now, what we've been hearing is that the Cowboys are interested in getting David Bailey, okay? Oh, shit! Now, David Bailey, edge rusher. The thought is, if you really want a stud, you got to go into about the top 6 or 7. That there's not going to be anybody worth anything that's left. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. Because there's always, I'm with you, Steve, there's always people who come out of nowhere and end up wowing you. That people think, man, he's a bum. Comes to mind to me when the Cowboys drafted Tyler Smith, okay? Do y'all remember when we drafted Tyler Smith? I think it was like at 22, 25. I can't remember where. But I remember Shannon and Skip Bayless talking about how stupid a pick that was. That, you know, that this is a guy who you could got him in the second round. Skip. Now, Shannon, he had more penalties than anybody in college football. He's going to the Dallas Cowboys that had more penalties. This just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. This is a reach. Jerry needs to be replaced. And lo and behold, check me if I'm wrong, that number 22 or 25 pick is one of the best guards in football, right? But nobody thought he was going to be anything except the Cowboys. So don't get me wrong. I think if you're trading 2 number 1s for Max Crosby, that's too much. Because for me, here's my thing. Here would be my philosophy. I'm not an owner. I'm not a GM. I'm just a guy who, could be broadcasting from his mama's basement. Rhonda, help me. Rhonda, what's up? Rhonda, you're making me cry. Sugar Daddy Williams, my sugar daddy. Okay. All right, there you go. Your sugar daddy. Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, but either I'm going to give up draft picks or I'm going to give up money. I don't want to give up both. Shout out to Rhonda with the big super chat this evening. Woo-hoo. Thank you, Rhonda. I don't want to give up money and a whole bunch of draft picks. So that's my thing. My second thing is I think the draft is a crapshoot. There's been a lot of guys who people say, that's a can't miss guy, man. He's going to be immediately stud. He's going to plug in. He's going to be great. And he ends up being a bum. Right? But if I take 2 picks and I end up getting a guy who ends up being a bum, then I'm screwed. Now, the Cowboys, with this rumor of moving up, now here's where it gets to be crazy. Let me go through. This is ESPN's mock draft, okay? I'm not the mock draft guy, man. I ain't got that kind of time. I'm 60 years old, man. I'm more than half my... I don't think I'm going to live to be 120. I don't think I'm going to live to be 100. So you could look at this and say 2/3 of my life, if I live to be 90, 2/3 of my life's in the books. I ain't got time to sit here and figure out everybody, 7-round mock drafts, okay? There are ones that are out there. Oh, my God. Cardinal fandom, stop trying to take our picks. I would never trade with the Cowboys. But you're not the owner. You're not the GM. So Cardinals fandom, shut the F up. You're not the one. Because, see, your team's looking and saying, we want to get an offensive tackle, but maybe we can get the guy we're looking at and get some more capital with it so we can get multiple players. See, I'm all aboard getting multiple players. But here we go. ESPN's latest mock draft. In a dungeon, in a basement, would be an upgrade. Woo, damn. Overdrive. In a dungeon, in a basement would be an upgrade. Wow. UConn just went down to South Carolina. Damn. Okay. Oh, before I get to this list, do y'all notice anything different? Do y'all notice? Seriously, real question. Did y'all notice anything different here? Okay. Now look, I do the best I can to try and read the comments, although some of them are kind of salty comments. But somebody left a comment and said, dude, your poor wife, man. Why don't you go shave and take care of the nose hair and everything else and clean up? Your poor wife has to look at that shit, right? And I was like, damn. I looked in the mirror and I said, damn. Maybe they're right. I was like, I do look kind of scruffy here. I do look kind of bad, right? And then I went ahead and got my Manscaped and started cutting all the gray and everything else in here, trimming it down, edged up the lip here, and got the razor blade out. And some shaving cream, cleaned up right here in the spots. Put a little edge on there, right? Got the couple of which hairs that are growing off my nose and everything else. Got the real long eyebrows, right? Right? Kind of washed my hair, put a little product in it and things. And I told him, I said, honey, let's go out to eat. And did all that, right? I walk out of the bathroom and I'm feeling good. I'm like, I look younger. I said to myself, I think I look mad sexy. Right? She looks at me and she's like, what did you do to your face? I said, baby, I said, I trimmed up. I said, I tried to make myself pretty for you. She's like, I don't like it when you cut all your hair off. I said, it's not like it won't grow back in a week. She said, well, that's a week, then I have to look at you like this. I'm like, oh, shit. Drink Mark's bathwater. No, you don't want to do that, Rhonda. You don't want to do that, Rhonda, because, I work and I sweat. I get bad. Now, she was like, now I got to get used to that. I said, it won't take long before I'll be looking rough, honey. I was like, damn. She actually likes more, that scruffing things. And she likes the gray. See, you can't really see that much of the gray right now. Ain't that some shit? Here I was thinking I was getting sexy. Yeah, but you know what? I think she's just seen me like that for so long that it's finally set in that that's normal, I guess. So, enjoy this for a day or two, but it's got to all kind of get rough. It's got to get crazy, okay? All right, so if we're to believe the mock draft of ESPN, here's how they have it at the moment. Alvin Riley and Kid Cowboy, welcome. Fernando Mendoza. I think everybody's draft has him going to the Raiders, who now have Kirk freaking Cousins, the placeholder for Mendoza. And shout out to Kirk Cousins, who moves to second all-time as the highest paid quarterback. That only works for 500, Mark. Okay. Parker to fly. All right. I play in my hubby's chest hairs. Oh, okay. All right. So you like the carpet there. All right. That's cool. I think everybody has Mendoza going to the Raiders with Kirk Cousins, but shout out to him being the second highest paid quarterback in the NFL history. Avril Reese, have him going to the Jets. Interestingly, the Cowboys have brought him in as one of their visits. Oh, shit. Okay. Arizona, Francis Mugga, the offensive tackle. I can't pronounce his name, but the thought is that that's too high for him, that they're going to try and get him later and see if they can get some draft capital. And this is where the rumors are that the Cowboys would move up and try and get David Bailey, who at the moment they have listed at Tennessee, as the number 4 pick. Okay. Bailey has beefed up the pass rush, but Bailey, who tied for FBS lead with 14 and a half sacks in 25, would give a roster a young rusher to build around. Thought is he could come out the box and be like Micah Parsons. Mind you, I'm going to say something here, and don't get mad at me, but didn't Donovan EZ have 14 and a half sacks last year in college? Not in the NFL, but the year before. Didn't he have 14 and a half sacks? Okay, moving right along. They have the New York Giants taking Jeremiah Love, a running back. Of course. They have the Cleveland Browns. Oh, mind you, Reese and Bailey, both Dallas Cowboys 30 visits. Okay. Cleveland taking wide receiver Lemon. Washington taking Clive Downs at 7. Downs, another one that we brought in on our 30-day visits. New Orleans taking Sonny Styles, linebacker. Again, another guy we brought in 30-day visits. They have Kansas City taking a tight end, Kenyon. Cincinnati taking Mansour Delane, another guy we've brought in on our 30-day visit. Miami taking Carnell Tate, wide receiver. And then the Dallas Cowboys taking Reuben Baines Jr. at 12 if they stay at 12. Okay. Here's my thing. Or here's the speculation at least. Vinny, I told him I'd slap the F out of him. Hold it. Wait a minute. What did Momo do? Seriously. He almost gave you a heart attack? What did Momo say they did? Well, okay. What did Momo do that got everybody? And this is the 3rd of April. I'm still looking here Mark thought a young girl was hitting on him and his wife called him out. No, ain't nobody hitting on me. Only Rhonda. Oh, Momo said he pulled a cop pizzle. Oh, he pulled a cop. Okay. You know what? When you started talking about Momo and what he did, I was like, wait a minute. He didn't call me today. He usually calls, hey, Mark. He calls me, hey, Mark, can I ask you something? I was like, oh, shit, Momo, I'm working right now. I'm busy, man. Even if I'm not busy, I'm busy, man. What do you want? Hey, you know, I got my train ticket and I'll be there on Tuesday and I need you to pick me up. Okay. I'm like, Momo, that's like 3 weeks from now, man. I got it. But I just want to make sure that I was like, oh, God. Okay, got it. All right. So here's what I'm going to ask now. Do we believe that this mock draft is going to be how it goes? Nobody really knows how the draft's going to go. Remember CeeDee Lamb falling all the way to us? How about Aaron Rodgers, who thought he was going to be like a top 5 pick, falling to like 20-something, which was the reason why he didn't like Mike McCarthy, because he thought he was going to be drafted by San Francisco, and they kind of said, oh, yeah, we're going to get you, and they didn't, and they ended up getting Alex Smith, right? They drafted Alex Smith, and Aaron Rodgers just dropped. And that's the reason that allegedly was the rift between Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy, was because Aaron Rodgers wanted to be in Cali for his career, not Green Bay, which will be interesting if he comes back and he's working under Mike McCarthy. All right, so here it is. Looking at this, and when you think that the Cowboys have had David Bailey, Sonny Styles, Clab Downs, Avril Reese, Mansour Dane, all of them have been in with their 30 visits. One of the things the Cowboys do like to do, it's kind of like their tick. I'm trying to remember, it was one of the quarterbacks that was in the draft who he always clapped the football before he threw. And it was like, aha, you got to stop that shit because everybody knows you're about to throw it, okay? Because you pat the football. So one of the ticks of the Cowboys is they like to bring in players for one-on-one visits at the Star to really get to know them. Those are typically players that they end up drafting. I've heard 2 women talking about Spank Puppy. One asked the other woman, would you hit it? She said, yeah, with my truck. What is Spank? I don't know what Spank Puppy is. iRock in the house. What's up, iRock? Joey Baker, I just hope I hope for a good draft. You and me both. I need a solid football player. That's where I am with you, Vinny Hogan, is we need solid players. Now, do I believe that David Bailey could be great? Yeah, sure. Do I believe that Reuben Baines Jr. could be? Sure. Any of these guys could be great, or they could be ass. There's no guarantee on it. But I'm sitting here thinking in my mind, let's go down a little bit further here on the draft. They have Jordan Tyson going wide receiver, Arizona State. Jamon McCoy, which we all saw McCoy, whose stock is rising since he looks healed and he looked fantastic. So, of course, that was the flavor yesterday was, the Cowboys, Jamon McCoy. Did you see how fast he was? Okay, yeah, I see how fast he was. But is he going to be good now? Do we have to worry about that knee blowing up at some point? Tampa Bay with Akeem Menser, edge rusher. You've got the Jets with wide receiver Omar Cooper. Lions with offensive tackle. Dylan Thiemann, I actually liked him, safety. Thiemann. Spencer Fano, offensive tackle. And then Zion Young, edge rusher, Missouri. So that's what they have for the top 20. Now, they're going to tell you that the only good players are the ones that are going to be drafted in the top 5. But do we believe that they have it 100% right? I think it was Shedeur Sanders patting the football. It might have been. I can't remember who it was. It may have been that. But is it worth it? And this is where, when I first started hearing the rumors, at least going on Twitter, they were saying the Cowboys and the Cardinals have had preliminary talks about trading the first and their third round to move up from 12 to 3. I was like, you're telling me you can go from 12 to 3 with just a third round pick? I was like, sold. Okay, all right, I'm done. I'm cool. I'm cool on that. Okay? Actually, let me look this up, okay? Let me look at this is just for general knowledges. Okay. On February 18th, 21. Oh, no. That's the first one. I want to see what it was that Eagles trade up to draft Carson Wentz. What did they give up to move up? Okay, the Eagles traded up to the number 2 overall pick in 2016 to draft quarterback Carson Wentz, officially executing a massive trade to the Cleveland Browns on April 20th, 2016. Philadelphia dealt their number 8 pick, a 2016 third-round pick, a 2016 fourth-round pick, a 2017 first-round pick, and a 2018 second-round pick to Cleveland while receiving the number 2 pick and a fourth-round pick. Bro, they went from 8 to 2. And let me say it again. Here's what they gave up to go from 8 to 2. Their number 8 pick in exchange for the second. Okay, you say that's a wash. Their 2016, they gave up their first pick, their third pick, their fourth pick, and then the next year, their first pick and a second to move up from 8 to 2. So you're going to tell me that the Cowboys could move up from 12 to 3 with just a 3? Oh, shit. If you can do that, Lord help you. Great. Then Jerry is the GM of the year. I don't see that happening. I look at it and say, if you're moving up to that number 3 spot, I can guarantee you it's got to be both of your number 1s at least. And I'm sitting here in my mind thinking, is it really that big? Is it really that big a difference of 12 to 3? Now, I'm not the draft guy. But I remember people before originally saying that we should trade up to get club downs. Are y'all old enough to remember that? Seriously. Are y'all, that was 3 weeks ago maybe? Oh my God, we got to get clap down safety, man. He's generational. Oh my God, we got to move up to get him. Trade both pick. I'm like, what are you talking about? So we went from Clive Downs. This week, I had Dan Salio saying, you get that linebacker, Sonny Styles. Do you trade up for that guy? Okay. All right. So we need to trade up for Sonny Styles, Clive Downs, and David Bailey. Are we really going to say, because what's going to happen when we go through this draft, somebody's going to do something crazy that's going to change everything. Okay, so you look at this and you say, okay, we all know Mendoza's going to go number one, right? Okay, got it. You got the Jets going defense. You got the Cardinals going offensive line. You've got Tennessee going defense. You got the Giants going running back. And then you got Cleveland going wide receiver and Washington going safety. New Orleans going Sonny Style linebacker. You got tight end. So you got a nice mix in here. But what you're going to have happen is there's going to be a run on a position. Maybe it's not offensive tackle. Maybe it's wide receiver. That all of a sudden somebody ends up getting, that the Jets decide we're going to get a receiver and screws up the whole board. The whole board gets screwed up because the Jets decide they want to get a receiver. Right? And then you get the Cleveland Browns. They trade with somebody to move back. And, maybe they decide they want to get a wide receiver. And then everybody starts thinking all of a sudden all the wide receivers are going like crazy. The opposite of what happened with CeeDee Lamb. And then your defensive players start to fall. And I can guarantee you that between David Bailey, Sonny Styles, Clive Downs, Reuben Baines, and Avell Reese, 5 of those players, that one of them will probably be there when you draft. Am I crazy? David Wiley, it's kebab time. What's up, David? Money, 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 money. Shout out to David Wiley. Yeah, man. A bra was free. What? Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh. We giving away bras up in here? Oh, shit. Okay. So, am I crazy? Somebody's going to fall like, see, Chris Gonzalez, you think like I do. Somebody's going to fall that you don't think of. And they were thicker than clothes diapers. Okay. Not crazy. Downs will most likely be there. That's what I'm saying. So, are you going to take 2 first-round picks, and try and sell out for one guy, and then you find out one of the guys that you really liked falls to you? Then you feel like a freaking idiot. Then you're like, oh, my God, we could have just stayed where we were, had that other pick, and gotten the guy we wanted. I'm always the trade back guy. I'm always the guy that says, I want more picks. I don't want to take less picks. I want to have a biggest pool as possible of players that I can draft. And hopefully 30% of them become studs. That's my hope. So we'll find out. Of course, tomorrow will be...
You won't be around next year. My rap's too severe, can get bad flavor in your ear. Here comes a brand new flavor in your ear.
Tomorrow will be a different flavor because we've been through them all, guys. We've been through Sonny. We've been through Clab. We've been through Reuben Baines. And now it's David Bailey. But while I'm sitting here talking, let me put a little... Let's play a little bit. Hopefully I won't get copywritten, but you see the circle up there. That boy's fast. He's fast. He's a beast. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to lie and say that he's not. He really is. Now, here's the other question. All right. You were willing to give up your first and a second next year to get Max Crosby, right? So this now I'm playing both sides of the fence. Joey Barker sent out a gift. Shout out to Joey Barker. All right, so let me play the other side of the fence, okay? Because Morris Claiborne will forever scare me about moving up in the draft, okay? I just don't like it. However, you were willing to give up, and rightfully so if Max Crosby was healthy, a first and a second for him. So if you look at that and say Max Crosby would have been worth a first and a second and a $35 million a year salary, would it be worthwhile for David Bailey for a first and a second, if you could work out that deal, for the same compensation as Max Crosby without the big bill? Because, see, that's where you look at it and say, yeah, at least I'm only giving up draft capital and not draft capital and money, because then I've got money that I can use on some other people. Now, granted, I don't know that there's too many guys out there right now that you're not trading for that you want to spend a whole bunch of money for. And you could also go ahead and just get George Pickens a deal, which is, I still don't understand that one. Why everybody seems to think that paying George Pickens on the franchise tag 2 years is sound financial advice. If I were to look at the franchise tag and see that the Cowboys have used the franchise tag more than any other team by far, multiple years on players, and have had the least success in getting to the NFC Championship games, maybe it's not the best thing to be doing, because it certainly hasn't really helped our financial situation, because we're usually in cap hell and we ain't getting there. Now, I'm no expert, but I know this. Which is better? $19 million this year for CeeDee Lamb and $27.5 million for George Pickens. Right? So that's $46 million. Allen Williams is back. 88 Club, what's up, man? How you doing? Welcome to chat. Because that's, at the moment, as everybody keeps saying, you can't afford to pay both of those guys. Well, you're paying $46 million for those two guys this year. Is that smarter, wiser than if I got a deal for George Pickens and I end up spending $25 million for both?
Oh, shit! Oh, shit!
Squeeze them together and do you get bigger boobies to sleep on and have fun? Well, Jeff, what the hell? Jeff, damn. Jeff, go take a cold shower, man. He left to sleep dirty. Damn. Jeff needs some boobies. I'm just asking on that. Because I'm sitting here looking, and people keep saying, oh, yeah, Mike Fisher was talking about, the $60 million solution. Just franchise tag George Pickens for 2 years. That's $60 million. Hard money. Right? Let me tell you, let me go through it. CeeDee Lamb, $34 million for his per year, right? 8.5 plus 14.5 plus 19.5. So CeeDee Lamb for his first 3 years is $42 million on a $34 million contract. George Pickens for 2 years is $60 million. Am I missing something here? Am I missing? Because here's what I want you to understand. Here's what the Eagles have done that has been great for their organization. Okay, the Eagles paid their guys early to create cap space. You understand that, right? So when they paid Devontae Smith a couple years ago, $25 million, that's manageable. And then they kicked the ball way down the road. They paid A.J. Brown the same year and kicked the ball way down the road. So if your whole thing is, I want when I retire here, I want to make sure, excuse me, I've got the wrong voice. I got Stephen Jones. Well, when I retire, I want to make sure that I have the most Super Bowls in the history of the NFL. So I've got some work to do. If you're saying, and you're going to be 83 years old, rest my soul, my father, he was 85. Chuck Norris, what was he, 82? My father-in-law, 85. I'm not saying that Jerry Jones won't live to be 100 because that'd probably be what will happen to us Cowboy fans. But tomorrow isn't promised. It's hard to pay guys early when you suck at negotiating extensions. More the reason to pay them early. More the reason. Listen, go to George Pickens right now and say, look, George, you and CD are like twins. You can get with this or you can get with that. You can get with this or you can get with that. And say, what we're going to do is we're just going to give you CD Lamb's contract because we want to keep the two of you together. We're going to give you $34 million just like CD Lamb. Right? That's a team. That works for you. It should work for the team. And we got a whole bunch of bonus money for you right now. You came off the scratch and dent pile, and you've done great things for one season. Let's make this thing work. Is that hard? And kick the money down the road. Because what you're looking at here is Dak ain't going to play till 50. You got to look at it and say, Dak, 3-4 years, probably, and then he's going downhill. He'll go on the Kirk Cousins plan and become a journeyman quarterback. You got 3 or 4 years and you have to start all over at quarterback. You're not going to be in position next year to draft Manning if he ends up being good. So you need to go ahead and get this thing and look at this and say, we got a 3-year window. Sign George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb's contract, 8.5 this year, 14.5 next year. In 28, it's $19 million. Right? Because now I got about $35 million more that I can use on getting some more talent. Sean Gary only cost us $5.5 million this year. What can I get for $35 million? That's where it's crazy to me. I don't understand why it seems to be so hard. All right, so we have our usual Eagles fans in here. What's up, Logan Motorsports? Cry, Cowboys, cry. We ain't crying right now, Logan. Logan, right now, at least not till the season starts. We ain't crying right now, Logan. But I'm going to say some of you Eagle fans are kind of crying. They must be overwhelmed with backstage noise, Mark. Some personal things. Who? What? Rhonda? Backstage noise, Mark. Some personal things. Oh, okay. Nicole, HC7th. As a Texas Tech alumni, Cowboys fans, I would love to get David Bailey. Okay.
Oh, shit! Oh, shit!
Welcome, Nicole. How you doing tonight? Welcome to the Joe Boo Sports Report. Appreciate you being here and being part of the chat. But is he worth trading 2 number ones for? That's my question, because that's what I think it's going to take to get there. So let's trash the Eagles a little bit here and go ahead and twist the knife in the back just a little bit.
I mean, look.
Talked about this a bunch really over the last several years. It seems like right around this time or right around the season starting, everyone's got an issue with Jalen Hurts, whether it's, the team thinks he's the problem. Anonymous sources are coming right after the league meetings, basically putting all the blame on him. There's still the A.J. Brown stuff going around. Like, what do you read into all this stuff, not only with Jalen Hurts, what you're hearing about A.J. Brown, and also, why is this just constantly what's coming out of the locker room in Philadelphia?
I mean, look, the year ended in disappointment, so people are going to be digging in. And that's a very intense media market, so people want answers. And Jalen Hurts' body language was not always great last year, so I guess people are looking for more explanations. Look, again, I look at it like this. The guy's done a lot of things right. Like, he did win a Super Bowl 2 seasons ago, right? Where he could have won MVP of that particular. Did he win MVP? No, he didn't win MVP of that game.
Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah, he did.
He did. Okay, he was Super Bowl MVP. Okay, excuse me, I stand corrected.
Well,
So he's the Super Bowl MVP 2 years ago. Leads him to the victory. Could have won another Super Bowl. Played well enough. Has been doing this at a time where if we look at his offensive coordinators, he'll have Sean Mannion this year. He had Kevin Patullo last year, Kellen Moore in 24, Brian Johnson 23, Shane Steichen 22, Shane Steichen and Nick Sirianni 21, Doug Peterson in 20. Different offensive coordinator every year. Different offense. Like, I know he's not the quarterback that everybody wants, but how about the fact that he's done a lot of things that no other quarterbacks have done with a number of offensive coordinators? Could it be different? Could it be perfect? Are there questions this year about what it might be like if Sean Mannion wants him to line up under center, which he hasn't done great at, which he's resisted to do in the past? Yeah. Okay, there's a lot of questions, but we're still, I think, taking apart a guy that's had a lot of success in this league. I don't quite get it.
It happens a lot, though. It feels like it's always happening. People, what we were saying yesterday is it seems like people are way too comfortable talking about bad about the franchise quarterback. Now, you can read that a couple different ways. Are they way too comfortable because they know everybody else feels the same way they feel? So they're like, hell, I'll be the one that anonymously says it, I guess, which I hate, even though you make a living off it. I understand that. I don't really love anonymous sources killing somebody in the same building that they're working for, especially whenever that one guy and what he does on the field helps everybody else's resume out a lot and everything. So I don't love the anonymous source. This guy's the worst, even though
we're not using I'm not using anonymous sources to attack and malign somebody's character, Pat.
True, yeah, you're breaking news, you're saying. Yes. I got it. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Okay, so there is a separation. So you probably heard me say this yesterday or somebody say this before where it's like, hey, anonymous sources in sports are crazy. I get like anonymous sources in politics and shit because people could die. Okay, and like think worlds can happen. But in like sports, nobody's going to be dying from anonymous sources. I don't think. I mean, I would assume not. So whenever like it's an anonymous source in a building killing somebody, that's what you're saying. Like, hey, let's make sure we separate the two from news.
I don't love that. That makes me uneasy. When we're using anonymous sources to talk about somebody's character, or if they want to go on the record and say, I think this guy's a jerk, hey, we'll quote you, no problem. But it's hard in my mind.
Yes.
I don't think it's really fair to have anonymous sources questioning somebody's character. Now, if there are a lot of people and you want to write a news story saying there are multiple people that believe this guy's a jerk, he's rubbed people the wrong way, and give a specific example. Okay, I mean, there are examples and ways in which you can do it. But to quote somebody like this guy's a jerk, I don't know. I don't love it.
Like, there's been places, and once again, my name's on the show, so I can only speak from my perspective of things, which people get really mad about. But it's like legit. There's articles written about me where they get an anonymous source, and I'm like, I know who you just went to get that. So like, you did that on purpose. Like this is a clear. I know who said that, so you might as well just write who said that in the entire thing. I think that's what really amplified it. It's like, okay, so you're just going to say you can't say who I am, but then just make up a bunch of stuff out of context that isn't true. It's like, that's disgusting. I think I don't think that is how it's supposed to be. But on that note, we've amplified it. We all have. And it's because it's huge news. Mm-hmm. It's a Super Bowl MVP
and like you
quarterback.
said, and it happens every single year. This is the 10th time we've heard this type of stuff about Jalen Hurts.
Hopefully they get figured out over there.
Hopefully they get it figured out. Hopefully they don't. Hopefully they don't get it figured out. But I tell you, it was great because I didn't know anything about the article, and forgive me, good people. It's been crazy hectic around here. Not even blink an eye. Cowboys fan, take a Super Bowl any way you can get it. Amen on that. I agree with that. We need a Super Bowl badge just so we can shut people up. I miss you, a woman running the NFL. Football fanatic, I'm just optimistic about this draft and the direction the team is going. I have to say I do feel better about the Cowboys so far. I still don't think I really want to trade up. Too many times we've heard that this guy is can't miss. Everybody thought that Morris Claiborne was the best defender in the draft. Cowboys went for it hook, line, and sinker. I think the Cowboys, more than anything else right now, are trying to put out there as much disinformation as possible so that way people really don't know what they're doing. Because typically when the Cowboys want somebody or has been out there, I mean, I can think of they were highly interested in getting Dallas Goedert, and the Eagles jumped in front of them to take him. And so, I think the Cowboys are kind of working their own media to kind of make it crazy. That, this is the guy, we want here. So people don't know what they really and truly want to. And, with Shoddy is feeding into that or helping to feed into that with his whole thing of we're going to draft pure. We're going to take the best player available, whatever, let the draft come to us and not put out there and say, well, we really want to get an edge rusher. We really want to get a linebacker because it limits you in what you're doing. If you're saying we have to get that linebacker, well, there's only two really good first round linebackers for the whole first round. And if you're saying we have to get one of those two guys and he's gone or they're both gone, then you're kind of left there like, oh shit, we're screwed. Now, here's another point in here. This actually was something that blew my mind away, and I meant to mention this earlier. Because regardless of what you think about a player being paid too much, okay, we look at it and say, what these guys are making is ridiculous. But understand what the NFL is making is ridiculous. Understand the NFL salary cap is set up so that way the owners make a killing and they don't overpay on the cap per team, which ends up making it so that way everybody is kind of competitive if you use your money the right way. And the numbers are going to continue to go up and they're going to skyrocket. You have to understand, CBS, which is fighting for their lives right now, recognizes we can't lose football. So how about we pay you guys $1 billion a year the next 3 seasons extra, so that way you won't take football away from us in 29. For the same package. So that would be like, you bought a car. Your car payment's, let's say, $1,000. You go back to the dealership and say, hey, look, I know my lease is up in 3 years, but how about I give you $1,500 a month on that lease? So that way, I can, you'll roll me into the next car. Because that's what CBS is doing. So understand, every internet provider out there, internet network, they just want to get a couple of games. The NFL is looking at having now, they're not going to do the 2 Monday Night Football games at the same time anymore. They're looking at moving those Monday Night Football games to other places like Thanksgiving Eve. We're going to get to the point where there will be a football game on every night. And the 18-game season schedule is how they're going to do it. They're going to add 2 more bye weeks in. So you have a bye week and then you play on Wednesday night or you play on Tuesday night. So that way they can get football on all the time. And they'll sell that to some streaming network. So you'll have to go out and get that app so you can see your team play. Because that's how they roll. So when you see Linda, Mark, do you think that Morris Claiborne's selection kind of changed Jerry's philosophy about how he drafts, being a little more conservative? I think it sure should have, because that thing was just atrocious. And Tony Boo and Linda, damn, Tony Boo, hit the like button. Appreciate that. I think, I honestly think, and Linda, you make a great point, because I will say the Joey Galloway, 2 picks for Joey Galloway, and Joey Galloway messed up his knee before the season even started. And then you also have to look at Roy Williams, where they took a first, a second, and a third, I think it was, and traded for him, and he ended up not working out. So I'm not sure that the Cowboys are ready to go ahead and go to that well again. I don't think they should. I really don't. But here's what's crazy. So Trayvon Walker, edge rusher for the Jacksonville Jaguars, got an extension of $27 million a year. I think it was 27. I'm sorry. Yeah, $27.5 million average, right? In 4 years, he's only got 27.5 sacks. And that's worth $27 million a year? Jalen Phillips got, what, $30 million? He had 5 sacks last year. I'm not going to say they're a gold digger, but damn, bro. That's averaging 7 sacks a season. Well, actually, less than 7. And you're getting $27 million? Are you kidding me? So the price is going to skyrocket, which is why you need to go ahead and hurry up and get George Pickens done. What if let me ask a hypothetical question. What if the Dallas Cowboys, heaven forbid, have a great season and they make it to the NFC Championship game, and George Pickens has 1,300 yards and 8 TDs next year? What do you think he'd be worth? How much do you think he's going to be worth? Highest paid wide receiver now is what, 41, 42? We're going to get, after Puka Nacua gets out of rehab and everything, he's going to get paid. Brett Favre had an addiction to painkillers. He got over that and, did all of his thing. Are we looking at $45, $50 million? You better strike that deal now while you can. That's highly unlikely. This is Watson last year unless he wins a playoff game. The Browns won't lose money. The Browns already lost money. They've lost money every year with Watson. They basically just keep restructuring his contract and just kind of hide him. Overkill. 52, right. So, and then and how about this? If you franchise tag him again next year, after let's say he has 1,300 yards, this next year, and then you decide to franchise tag him again, and let's say he has another, 1,300 yard season. How much will he be worth? That $60 million a year? I'm just saying. That's a lot of money, man. That's a lot of money, man. And I'm sure George Pickens will tell you, I'm going to go get paid. So we are about to get ready to get up out of here. As George Pickens would say.
Where you going, boy? Paid. $10, a lot of money.
George Pickens will be going to get paid. All right, good people. As always, I appreciate you guys. And I have no idea what's coming tomorrow because every day seems to be like a gift that keeps on giving. Now we're trading up with Arizona. Tomorrow, it'll be back to we're trading for Myles Garrett or some shit like that. So hold on tight with all your mic because we're going to rock it like this for the rest of the night. Well, actually, we're not. We're going to turn off the lights. Appreciate you guys, and I'll see you soon. Peace out.
Turn out the lights, the party's over. They say that all good things must end. Call it a night, the party's over. And tomorrow and next year starts the same old thing again.